I used to listen to good podcasts and everything was fine, but now I listen to this podcast because I've lost my mind. My gym partner's a podcast. My gym partner's a podcast. Yeah!
Bull shark, porcupine, I don't know what. Going to this school's a pain in the...
I am here.
Gert, what are you doing in my house?
Hi, I'm here.
Wow.
Hi, I'm here.
Welcome back. It feels like it's been so long.
Oh, it has. I'm finally...
It's been at 7 days.
I'm finally back from the coma the episodes before your last episode gave me. That's what you see, that's why I wasn't able to make it, you know?
You were incapacitated by Jake's ass.
Jake's ass hit me with blinding light, and then I fell over onto the ground shaking, and I was that way for a week, but I'm here, and I watched the new one, and see y'all. I'm going.
Don't you leave us.
Oh, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, welcome.
And on this podcast, we watch episodes of My Gym Partner's a Monkey, and then we cry about it. So let's not waste any time because we got some episodes today, huh?
It's a real conga line of embarrassment, these 2 episodes.
Yeah, I hate secondhand embarrassment. I have really bad secondhand embarrassment, and with these 2 episodes, I just felt it hit me like a truck.
I shouldn't have to feel shitty because Adam Lyon can't live his life in a way that is normal or productive. He just gets into these situations. It's his fault. I mean, maybe not the second episode. Not the second one.
I was gonna say the second episode, he gets shit on so bad, and it sucks so bad
It
for him.
sucks a lot. It sucks for anybody who watches it.
Let's start with 2 tons of fun, though, right?
Yes, first, we gotta get into a Mr. Hornbill-centric episode.
See,
Aren't you excited, Gert?
oh, sure I am, because this episode, Mr. Hornbill is Mr. Horny Bill. If you know what I'm saying.
It really is.
Mr. Hornbill.
That's no exaggeration.
It's not. It's pretty spot on.
Alright, well...
'Cause we start out in the library, a seldom seen scene.
I didn't even know they had a library.
Yeah, I thought they would just eat all the books in there if there was one, but you know.
Well, who cares about consistency in world building and lore? They just did that for a joke again.
This isn't Steven Universe we're talking about. This is My Gym Partner's a Monkey. There ain't no home world for spider monkeys.
The great monkey butt authority. They're in the library though. Jake and Adam, of course, are titular characters, except not really.
I'm just thinking about Jake as Pink Diamond, just wearing that ridiculous outfit from the Shiny Thing episode. Sorry, I just had to get that thought out there.
They're at the library. They have to write a book report, and they have a little banter where Jake's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get an A++," and Adam's just like, "Well, you gotta fucking read the books first, idiot."
And Jake doesn't want to be bothered by that because, whoo, boring. Doesn't want to read.
No, he's a jock. He doesn't read.
Yeah.
So instead, he picks up Mr. Hornbill's secret diary just to read for laughs.
And it was in the... Did he just pick it out of Mr. Hornbill's desk?
No, what happened was he's sitting there at the library table just hooting and hollering over this book that he's reading, and Adam's like, "What book is that?" And Jake's like, "Oh, it's a diary," and they read it, and it's all these terribly written sensual entries about somebody named T, and Adam's like, "Where did you get this?" And it's a flashback to Jake in the school bathroom reaching under a stall with his long arm.
I don't know how I forgot that scene. His long arm goes not under just one stall, it goes through a stall to the stall that the book is at, and
it's so long. He just reaches and he snatches it. He reaches it.
He doesn't even care like whose it is. He just sensed a book. A few stalls pass, and it's like, ooh, this is some spicy hot drama here. This is some gossip. Oh,
and they're just making fun of it, and they're like, who wrote this? And they find out it's Mr. Hornbill's, and they just start mercilessly teasing like him. They're like, oh man, I can't believe he wrote this crap.
Yeah, it's like he's so bad.
Hornbill, I'm in love.
It's so mean.
Jake like turns into a heart.
Yeah, he like whacks himself with a stick, and he's like, duh. And then who but Mr. Hornbill should show up and be like, what are you two, you're being too loud in the library. And he's being his normal assholey self. And then for the rest of this episode, because they reveal, oh, it's your diary, and he's like, eep. For the rest of this episode, from this moment on, he becomes a completely different character, a spineless, pathetic loser.
And honestly, it's cathartic.
I think it was the true form we were meant to see, but never got to see, because he's always been yucking it up on the authority of being a middle school teacher.
Yeah, he's just got so much power
over these poor kids, and he's like, don't tell Eugenia I like her, and they're like, who the hell's Eugenia?
Yeah, like who the fuck is that?
And he, they reveal, oh, it's Mrs. Tusk from the lunchroom, the lunch lady, the elephant lunch lady, thus explaining the title 2 Tons of Love, as rhinos and elephants are like a ton each. Get it?
I get it.
Oh,
I get it. They're big.
And just Mr. Hornbill's just so like, he's like shaking, he's like, oh, like whimpering, sweating. Oh, he sweats so much in this episode.
He sweats so much.
Don't tell her, please. He's asking these 2 middle school kids for love advice.
It's really disgusting.
And then Jake's like buttering up Adam, and is like, oh, Adam here will help you out. He knows all about love, and he's real smart and stuff.
Stop saying that. Like, don't report this man.
But Adam's like, actually, I don't think I can do this. I'm a kid. I don't know much about adult relationships. But then Mr. Hornbill threatens him with detention.
Yeah, he's like, well, this detention note says otherwise. And Adam's like, what the hell? Like, why? And they meet him in the parking lot afterwards. It's like really creepy.
Just imagine if they made an episode, like if this episode went the other way, and there's like, we gotta tell like Principal Pixie Frog about this, so they get Mr. Hornbill fired, and like he's not able to find another teaching job ever again because like he fucked up so bad. It's just inappropriate, and I hate what happens next, because Adam and Jake are just like, all right, we're helping him, we have to.
So I guess we have to read this adult book on the mating rituals of Adam.
And sorry, but just gotta say the title. It's The Complete Guide to Mating ... with animals, which
that can't be any more obscene without just outright saying fucking.
Yeah, it's basically like that's explicit.
No, yeah, it's like they open the book and they look at it, and then they like kind of go like, ew, gross, and Jake goes
and like, I don't think an animal wrote this book.
No, it's like very like scientific, like, oh, this is what, like, this is how you get animals to mate in like a zoo or something.
Jesus.
Then they go and meet him in the parking lot, though, which is not creepy at all.
It's really not. He's hiding in a big bush.
For multiple layers of creepiness in this episode. smack you in the face, one after another.
I think the next part's especially creepy because Jake shows up and he's like got like a pipe around his nose and like socks on his ears or whatever.
And he's
doing a faux Jamaican accent.
Yeah, because Miss Tux has a Jamaican accent.
Is Miss Tusk's Jamaican accent a faux Jamaican accent?
It might be.
It's not my place to say.
Yeah.
But, you know, tell us in the comments.
Tell us in the comments if it is or not. And then Mr. Hornbill's like, it's Eugenia, and he hides in the grass or whatever.
God, he's so pathetic.
We're gonna be repeating that a lot in this discussion, but he's so pathetic in this.
So pathetic. I just hate looking at Mr. You know, like, let's just talk about his design for a little while, because, like, I think the one thing that makes me the most angry about Mr. Hornbill's entire look is his hair. It's kind of like Adam, honestly. Like,
oh my gosh, I'm looking at it like a side by side of them right now, and they both have like terrible orange hair that sticks out of the top of their heads, like, and only that.
It's like they could have made it any color to go with the design more, but it's just looking at Mr.
You know, Adam, you remind me of myself at your age.
You remind me of myself. Help me with
mostly love. Your patheticness at mating, and yeah, that's just it.
I like the next part though. This genuinely made me laugh a lot. Where like Mr. Hornbill was like, "Oh, I'm as clumsy as an otter," and it cuts to like an otter like trying to crack open like a seashell. Like it's like a Family Guy cutaway bit where like it cuts to this otter. He's smashing a shell, and then he like loses his grip, and it like hits him in the face, and then like gets thrown off screen, and then it smashes into real footage of like a real building getting demolished.
It's real. The part was very funny, honestly.
It was really funny.
Hey, I rate that a good bit. And then like Adam shows up on screen in the next scene. He looks really racist.
He's wearing like a 10-gallon hat, like cowboy boots, a belt buckle, bandana. And he's like, we're gonna, learn the mating dance, and he starts doing like a jig and waving his hat around. He looks terrible.
Yeah, he looks awful. And then he's
really character here. Like Mr. Hornbill and Jake are just kind of like unsure, but Adam is going further with it. He gets a Sharpie and draws a tooth gap.
Yeah.
That was a weird bit that they used to do in a lot of cartoons. Because I feel like I've seen that a lot, like at least 5 times in other things.
Yeah, it's not good.
So like we have on the screen presently, like in this episode, Mr. Hornbill in the middle, and then we got a Jake dressed up like Mrs. Tusk, and he looks like a trash monster, and then we have Adam over here, and he's just a Big Ten Doug Dimmadome.
And it's at this point that we realize, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? And he's like, come on, Mr. Hornbill, you can do it. And he's like, oh, I don't know if I can. And then they kind of get into it a little bit, and they start dancing, but Mr. Hornbill, like, falls over, and he's like, this was not meant for me. And,
why is he even asking for their help if he doesn't want to do anything that they ask? Like, he's asking middle schoolers to help him, like, get with another teacher. Like, what's he expect?
Isn't that kind of against the rules for teachers to date each other anyway?
I'm pretty sure. So, like, all of this, he's deserving to get fired. This needs to be brought up with higher management, like,
and they
of the school.
And it's just inappropriate, Mr. Hornbill. And then the scene ends with just Adam getting, like, a bunch of, like, girls in the class, like, see Adam dancing, and they're like, oh, Adam! And they all, like, like, stampede him and Mr. Hornbill, which...
This part is, like, just... you just get to see Mr. Hornbill just get completely owned. Like, there's no other way to say it. He just gets, total ownage. Because Mr. Hornbill gets trampled by three, large girls who are like hippos and like cows and stuff. And he's like, he's pressed in the cement. And then who comes? But none other than Mrs. Tusk herself. But she's in a car, Eugenia, and she just drives over him.
Just looks at him. She sees this like crumpled mess, and then she just drives over.
Like, it means nothing to her. She's like, whatever, and leaves. Like, just drives over him. But Mr. Hornbill's in kind of down in the dirt about this. He's like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this.
I am but a speed bump in the life of Mrs. Tusk.
So this is unrelated to the episode, but do his teeth like fall out and grow back like a shark's? Because like the variety that we see in Jake Spider-Monkey's mouth, it looks different every time we look at it, and I just want to know what the deal is with that.
Sometimes he has these like big pearly whites, and then sometimes they're like rotting and like falling away.
Sometimes he just has like literally 4 teeth.
And sometimes he just has no teeth.
God.
Sometimes they're perfectly round.
Yeah, sometimes they're round, sometimes they're sharp. It's an odd relationship here, but they hatch a new plan. They're like, we gotta give her a gift because something nice. And they kind of like kick a box to Mrs. Tusk as she's like cleaning something, and she's like, ooh, so happy to be receiving a present.
And it's funny because in the background you can clearly see that they still don't have anything for Adam to eat
on the lunch menu.
Yeah.
And she opens
probably on lunch, hopefully.
She opens the box and a bunch of stink lines and flies come out, and I was just like, no.
Y'all know where this is going.
And she's like, ew, this is so gross, and throws it away too. And it hits Mr. Hornbill, and who's hiding out to the side with Jake and Adam, and Adam's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It's a rhino pie." So yes,
I made it myself.
So Mr. Hornbill did take a trip.
He shat in a pond.
Do you think he did it in a bathroom at the school? Do you think he went into a stall and he just squatted over and just shit in a box?
That's the constant paradox in this show, isn't it? Is it, are the animal students allowed to just shit wherever they please?
Well, I mean,
are the stalls just there for like
courtesy,
for whatever reason? Courtesy.
I don't think they're allowed. Because we did see in another episode Principal Pixie Frog, like, yelling at Adam to not piss on a tree in the hallway. So, it's probably not allowed, but, they're gonna do it anyway.
So,
right.
After Mr. Rhino's shit in a box. It's my shit in a box, babe.
What's that from?
Saturday Night Live, dick in a box.
Oh. What's Saturday Night Live?
Anyway,
but Windsor comes in.
Windsor chimes in, and it's so funny because they're still talking about the shit box, and then we don't even scene transition or anything. The camera just like pans out, and Windsor's standing there.
It's really funny. Standing
there as Mr. Hornbill and Jake are crying, sobbing profusely, and Adam's like, Mr. Hornbill's having problem with the women.
Yeah.
And Windsor gives his piece, his advice.
Yeah, he just is like, you should have, you need to fight.
You need to fight with another man.
Well, the thing is, he does suggest, usually I would suggest the direct approach, but, and
what I say is you need to fight to get its approval.
No!
No, censor that.
You can't say that.
I'm just kidding.
It's something Windsor would say, though.
Yeah. I don't hate him that much. I just think it's funny to pick on him.
So they're like, we need to, set up a match. And they're like, well, what can we do? Because Mr. Hornbill's so sad and just weak that he can't find anything stronger than a jellyfish. And they're like, oh, we got an idea. And it cuts to Principal Pixie Frog putting on a little, school wrestling uniform. And he's like, why do I have to wrestle Mr. Hornbill again?
Now, this is the funniest sequence, I think, in the show thus far.
It's really good. I just like the beginning of it, how they ease into it when they're trying to get, when, Principal Pixie Frog is just rightfully why am I doing this? Because every little, response, he's just like, so, why am I doing this? And they're just like,
Adam wants you to show off so that he can get inspired to join the wrestling team.
He's like,
why am I in the lunchroom doing this? Good lighting.
Oh.
It is.
He just kind of casually was like, all right, okay, let's just...
Sounds good to me.
And Mr. Hornbill comes in and he's wearing a terrible outfit.
Embarrassing.
And he looks so awful just because he's grimacing and shaking and
there's so many details on his face during the sequence too.
There's too many, and he just kind of gets shoved into the ring, and Principal Pixie Frog just beats the shit out of him.
Principal Pixie Frog calls him by his first name.
Yeah, he calls him Cyrus.
It's like, come on, Cyrus, come on. You want to win?
He's not letting him have it. He's like, oh, come on, Cyrus, come on. Don't you want to show up? Don't you want to hit back?
He's vibrating. It's really...
It's funny.
And you think he's gonna let up on him. He's gonna just
go easy on him.
But then he just smacks him with Herculean strength. Back and forth. Swings him around.
Yeah, he grabs him by the horn and just starts just throwing him everywhere.
He just keeps flipping him just back and forth, hitting the board of the fighting ring, and it's just
there's nothing that can be done for Mr. Hornbill. Jake and Adam are just like, we this isn't working. And they pull out the book and they're like,
this is pathetic. You can't. Jake says something really good where Adam's like, what just happened? Jake's like, a 1-ton rhino got beat up by an 8-ounce frog. Where have you been for the last 30 seconds?
And so they're like, we got one last resort. This has got to be it. We just have to isolate them. And I was like, oh no, please don't. Please don't put these two together. It's so bad. And they shove them into a janitor's closet or whatever. And then Mr. Hornbill starts unbelievably sweating so much that he starts becoming dehydrated and shriveling up scene by scene.
It makes you even wonder, why did he let this crush on Mrs. Tusk go on for so long if he was so, inept and, unwilling to, even talk to her?
Yeah, and she's like, what was that display supposed to be some kind of mating thing? And he's like,
And it's like, did you just give me shit in a box earlier too? And he's like, because he can't say anything else because he's just so, here I go again, pathetic.
He's so, and she's like, okay, listen up, you asshole. Do you know what my you should have been more direct with me. Elephants direct approach, what everyone's been saying for the whole episode. And then he's like, okay, you want to go out with me? And she's like, no, I don't. And he's like, why? And she's like, my name is Mrs. Tusk. I'm married.
Why are you even doing this? You unobservant, full of yourself, rhino man.
And she's like, "Where's your ring?" And she's like, I can't wear a ring. I'm an elephant. I don't have fingers."
They're flat on the top.
And Jake and Adam, have been listening from outside the door, are kind of like, "Oh, well, I guess that's that. What did we learn today?"
Absolutely fucking nothing.
And Jake says, "I learned something. I learned that whipped cream doesn't make rhino pie taste any better."
We were almost out. We were almost out of the episode without, like, Jake doing something disgusting. But he did. He just ate literal shit at the end of the episode, and that's funny.
I mean, it wouldn't be the early 2000s without some shit jokes.
But why did he eat the shit?
He knew.
He knew
right?
it was shit, right?
He knew. Does it not matter to him?
Maybe he didn't know it was shit.
I mean, there are some animals that eat shit, but that's usually in their formative years when they can't really digest other edible matter. It's like bunnies, like baby bunnies eat shit. But like Jake is a sapient middle schooler who consciously ate the shit that a rhino teacher
Jake wears a shirt and a hat
in an attempt to woo her. I am every detail I add is making me grow more unhinged.
Because, like, this show doesn't allow you to think of them as just animals. You're unable to think of them as just animals. They are sentient, sapient, human. They're basically human. They have jobs, they go to school, they have books they can read, but we're still being treated to this imagery in our heads of Jake Spider Monkey opening up a box of shit, putting whipped cream on it, and eating it. And I just don't understand how they thought that that was something that they could do without people feeling uncomfortable.
I mean, it's like the Animus Rock thing. It's like, yeah, they're animals, so they piss on things, but like they're also sapient, and they also made Adam do it with no problem.
Speaking of making Adam do things.
Yeah, so that episode's fine, whatever. But this next one made me angry.
Let's position, shall we?
Let's not waste any time.
So, the next episode we're talking about Docu-Trauma, which is a very apt title, I think.
Yeah, this episode surely gave me a lot of trauma.
It's really showing that this hasn't happened before.
And poor Adam. This is an Adam episode.
Hell yeah, it is.
Just, our poor boy Adam.
So it's like God's trying to punish him, right?
Yes, God's trying to punish Adam all throughout this episode.
Isn't he
As
always?
he always does.
Isn't he always
But-
trying to punish him? Or yuck.
Oh, I'm Adam Line. I'm getting
Pissed on.
smited. Oh, it's only fire and sulfur for me. I'm Adam Line. I'm in hell. So anyway, Adam wakes up and his nose is fucked up. He doesn't know why.
He knocks up an alarm clock, and it falls back down on his nose, giving him a Quasimodo-esque nose.
And then he's brushing his teeth, and he's like, I look terrible, can't look any worse. And like a pimple just like...
Can you imagine watching a pimple form on your skin? I bet that is horrifying. I mean, he tries to hide it, and he just makes himself look even more Gollum-esque.
His hair just gets all ruffled up. He noticed he's at the school bus stop. He tries to tie his shoe. Then he rips his pants. And he's like, "Oh, I can't get much work." And then a car passes by and sprays mud all over him.
And then, like, this is awful, but hey, here's it's the girl you like, Adam.
Then what's her name? Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Carrie stopped by. So within 10 seconds of this episode, Adam has broken his nose, gotten a zit, messed his hair, has an untied shoe, his pants are ripped, he's got covered in mud, and the girl he loves is standing right there.
Adam, I don't know how attendance works at Charles Darwin, but like, just don't show up this day. They probably don't care that much. God.
Honestly, but Carrie doesn't seem to really regard Adam's terrible state right now, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, why are you standing like anyway, you wanna hang out for some pizza later tonight?" And she's asking this very legitimately, and Adam is almost just stricken by this, just like, "Oh wow, this is a dream come true. This is the best day ever." But then, of course, oh wait, right, I look horrible. This is the worst day ever. I can't do that.
And like, he has a little dream sequence before that of him like him and Carrie holding a pizza, and he's gonna give her a big kiss. And I can't imagine ever wanting to kiss somebody while eating pizza. Like, eating pizza makes me feel awful, like a sick monster. And I just feel like that just doesn't sound pleasant.
No, it doesn't. It's cheesy and gross.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of grease, which, that can cause pimples, which happens in the dream sequence. A big pimp shoots out in the same place where it is in real life, and the Carrie just screams, "Ah!"
Carrie kind of looks like a Picasso painting.
With like her one eye.
Her one eye and her like sort of like triangle-ish nose, and the way the hair is like that.
Yeah, she's very geometrical.
Yeah, she
in
is.
her design. But she seems like nice. Adam's like, I can't tonight because he's all muddied up, and she's like, oh, well, that's okay. Some other time will be fine, and it's always open, the offer. She's being really nice.
Yeah, like, she's truly like, she's just someone that Adam doesn't really need to like be this embarrassing with. He doesn't need to try this hard. I think she's just genuinely trying to reach out to him because he's been isolated from humans.
But of course, Adam furthers the embarrassment conga line and just hops into the first thing that drives by, which is a garbage truck. Heads face first into the trash. And Carrie just kind of defeated, is like, whatever, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, like, just momentarily giving up on the idea of like needing to say anything to him.
But Adam makes it to school, and there's some things going on. He's crawling. He crawls to school, I should say.
He crawls to school with
He has his shirt over his head, like he's Quasimodo. He's just the Quasimodo parallel here is obvious.
And for some reason, like, he reaches out without looking, and just
gropes. He just gropes Jake's.
And
Jake's butt.
And Jake doesn't mind.
He's just kind of, ooh, cold hand.
He's like, oh, hey, Adam.
Like, it could have been anyone. He doesn't care.
It's just like, it's like this happens all the time.
So, Principal Pixie Frog comes on the PA, of course, to move the plot along, and he says, "You're all expelled."
Oh no!
Just a principal joke, though.
Just a principal joke. So it's not school picture day like Adam was dreading, but it's something, you gotta twist it. So it's got an animal twist to it. So that's the main drive of this show. It's an animal school. So it's a nature documentarist who is going to go to the school and just film everybody for a new film, which that brings. I know we bring up a lot of these ethics issues, but like not really go too deep into them. But
What
you
do
know,
you mean we don't go too deep into them?
you're right. You're right. But
Why is there so the idea of having a nature documentarist like come into this school means that like people are one aware of the school, like two aware that there's animals, sapient animals, in fact, and this is the first time there's ever been a documentary about this phenomenon.
no, I don't think it's the first time there's ever been a documentary about it, because like she seems pretty. The nature documentarist seems pretty bored about all the animals just doing their regular thing. I think it's just because we do see a montage of her previous work where she's just filming zoo animals.
Right,
And-
it's kind of funny where she's like, you know, I've been to, you know, the Arctic, but it's actually her just like sitting in a penguin exhibit at a zoo and filming a documentary.
The idea of like a nature documentary person who just visits zoos and like domesticated animal places is really funny to me. Like, she's just not actually doing what you would expect her to do. You see, that's the little joke there.
That's the joke they have.
That's a funny joke. It's a good joke.
They're all trying to get her attention though, except Adam is like, I definitely don't want her attention. Because he looks like absolute garbage right now.
By the way, there's a little gag where, as Principal Pixie Frog is giving this announcement, he's like, "And be sure to act natural." And he turns. You see the back view of his chair. He turns, and he's got like this sort of green Elvis impersonator look.
Oh yeah, he looks
Like-
so natural.
He wants to look slick for the camera.
What's more slick than an Elvis impersonator?
Honestly, he picked a good costume.
It pans back to Adam and Jake is just loving the idea of being found, being discovered. Which what does it mean to be discovered as an animal?
There's
I
gotta
guess
be animal actors, right? Like celebrity animal actors.
I suppose so. Yeah.
You know, like Dunstan checks in, that monkey. I bet in this universe,
Who?
you know,
Who's Dunstan checks in?
you know when Dunder checks in, it's like a monkey in a
I
hotel.
have no idea. I've never seen that. What kind of Stuart Little?
No wait, Dunstan checks in.
Okay.
It's about a monkey in a hotel, and like I bet you in this
Oh.
universe, it came out in 1996 and came out 22 years ago.
Well,
Imagine the controversy of the movie Link, where an orangutan plays a chimpanzee.
Yeah, it was like the fur was dyed and everything.
that's awful.
Yeah, it's like Dunstan is the Scarlett Johansson of the animal world.
God.
and so this is the kind of things you gotta ask. Like these kinds of movies have to exist in the My Gym Partner's a Monkey world, but Dunstan would have gotten paid, you know.
Yeah. We
So-
assume they probably would have paid him with bananas or something stupid though.
Oh God.
And get away with it too.
Yeah.
No unions for animal actors. But Jake is trying to help Adam out here, and he draws like an eyeball on the zit that's kind of grown a bit more on Adam, so he looks like he has 3 eyes. And Lupe comes by.
Lupe comes through being loud and telling, everybody that they need to act natural, which is everybody's cue to spruce themselves up, and it's Jake's cue to add some color to his cheeks.
So
We get a little sequence where he's like, "Oh, I need some color to my cheeks," and we just see himself just slapping his ass, really groping it, squeezing it.
It's extra.
very tenderly
Really
animated.
just doughing it up, like he's just kneading that dough.
It's so bad. But it does give him a little color, and then he kind of smiles for the camera, and he's got these gray, rotting teeth. and the documentary lady just kind of whizzes by him because she's got no time for that.
We get a nice high-res painting of his teeth. Disgusting
Warm.
teeth.
Animating through them.
Yeah,
And,
worms and bugs, holes, all kinds of awful little things.
So he
living there.
decides to clean his teeth. But how does he do it? He gets a belt sander.
Horrifying.
No, he gets a saw, like a sanding saw, and just grinds down his teeth.
Ugh.
God, it's the idea of doing that to my own teeth. Like I can just feel it.
I feel like because I saw that, I'm going to have like a bad teeth dream about like that idea, and that's awful to me. I don't want that. I don't want my partner's a monkey to influence my dreams.
Sorry, everybody. But tell us if you do have those dreams and how terrible it was.
Yeah, everybody tell us about your collective experience of what this show has done to your dreams.
Meet us in the dream plane, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about this. The lady, is filming all the animals. They're all, of course, trying to get in the front of the camera, and she's like, "There's a surprise around every corner," and then she's like, literally, because she just stepped in some shit. So yeah, they do just shit all over the place, I guess.
Maybe that was the remains of Jake's meal
Ew.
that he had in the last episode.
I hate this lady, by the way.
Oh god, I hate her too.
She's like, just, kind of a fake documentary where she only does documentaries in like safe, like zoo exhibits. And then she's like, I also did one in my house with my cat. And it's like, okay.
And she's famous.
Yeah, she's won awards.
She's got a very strange setup for herself. She has a camera that she holds and a little stick that comes off of her belt, and it just has like an entire like setup on it. It's got lighting.
It's like pointed at her face so she can like turn and like talk to it.
Mm-hmm. So you got the first person view and the third person view. You got the Laura Croft thing.
And she's like, there's nothing interesting going on. Principal Pixie Frog, like slides in the camera and he tries to be like, I'm a hunk of burning frog or something like that. And Lupe's there too, and she says something obnoxious, which is her character.
She has big rings.
Yeah, she has a big earring.
Hoop earrings.
And yells at the camera, Windsor is there? And he's like, I got something interesting.
Do you want to see something strange? Is what he says.
He pulls out a little like puppet and he's like, let me show you ventriloquism. It's so unlike Windsor. I don't know, when did he get into puppets?
This freaked me out for a second because I saw this puppet and it's like, wait, this episode? But no, because that puppet gets featured in another episode later on.
Oh, great.
So I guess that's gonna be like.
So expect that.
This is kind of a showing of maybe like when he first got into puppetry, and then the next episode's going to be sort of like the result of his interest gathering over the episodes.
Consuming him. But we get all the animals trying to show up for the camera. Even Miss Chameleon is coming up. She's like, I'm ready for my close-up, darling.
But no go. We check back in with Jake, and he's sanded his teeth so much that whenever he opens his mouth, a blinding white light pours out of it.
And not to mention, there's around him literal piles of like teeth dust that he's shaved off.
I think some like actual teeth in there as well.
Ugh.
Oh god, awful. And then he offers to like sand off like the growth on Adam's head.
But nothing is interesting, the documentary, until she peeks over and sees the bright white light, and she's like, "You are my new star." And Jake's like, "Oh, me?" And she's like, "No, you're ruining my white balance." And she like kicks him aside, and she's like, "You strange three-eyed mutant creature." And she's pointing at Adam.
Adam looks so sad too. He looks like unbelievably like just gone.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to be here.
And she starts chasing him around, and we see it from like the camera she's holding, like point of view, and it's like a first person view of somebody chasing a little boy down. And he's like running around, and he's like, stop filming me. It's so sad.
This is just not great.
He like finds a little crevice to just crawl into.
Yeah, like a little rat, he finds a place to hide.
And she gets the idea to start calling him Pants.
Why?
Just, because, he's wearing pants. So she crawls into there to that little crevasse and tries all the animal nature documentarist tricks to get Adam to like her. She even pulls out a hair and dangles it, and is like, well, that worked with monkeys. I don't understand.
This is really demeaning if you think about it, because like she's doing this to something that she perceives as an animal that talks.
Like, yeah, she understands it, because, like, Adam's like, "I'm not a monkey," and she's like, "Well, what are you?" So she can hear him. He's talking to her right now.
Like, it's...
She understands that this is an animal, but also that this is a student at this school, but is nonetheless treating him as a feral animal.
As a creature that needs to be, like, dealt with in a simple way, on its simple terms.
And
there's something to be spoken about that sort of conscious contradiction there, but maybe for a secret society meeting.
Possibly. He gives her the slip, though, after not telling her he's human.
He just says, "I'm a boy." And she's like, "Yes, but a boy what?"
Slip.
We haven't seen Slips in so long. I miss him so much.
Was he not in the episodes that I was
not really.
comatose for? Well, that's sad.
He appears for one frame when, like, all the animals are, like, showing off on camera. He's there. I saw him smiling. I'll put a picture of him here.
Thank you. He runs away from her, and she's running through the hallways like, "I lost my pants," because that's what she calls him. And Jake's standing there, and he kind of like looks down at himself, and he's like, "Is that a problem?"
And that's a problem?
And Adam seeking refuge, and this part is what really pisses me off. He runs into the boys' locker room, and the lady tries to follow him, and she gets tackled by Coach Gill and Horace. And they're like, "You can't go in there!" Like, what are you doing?
Like, stop it!
That's a boys' locker room. Like, you can't go in. You're an adult woman.
And she's like, "No, I have an all-access pass."
And she tries to get Coach Gill to go in for her, and Coach Gill's like, I can't either. What do you want? Like, leave. It sucks so bad.
It's just no regard for any of these animals.
She just treats them as objects to point her camera at.
They are stools from which she can elevate herself and her career. That's all they are to her.
Yeah, and Adam's there like, "Phew, I guess I'm safe." He's peeking out the like keyhole, and Principal Pixie Frog's even like, "No, you can't go in there. Like, why don't you just film me instead? Like, what are you trying to do?"
Yeah.
And so Adam's like, "Okay, I guess I'm safe for now," and he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror, and he's like, "Ah!
I look awful!"
So he decides to do what would seem like the smart thing to do. Take a shower. Like, it's an awfully convenient thing, and it's what I would do, honestly.
He even
in this situation.
He even turns the light off.
Yeah, just in case anyone could be filming him. But alas, poor Adam.
Poor Adam isn't safe from the cruel hand of fate.
Because who
Known
should
as
appear?
Jake Spider Monkey.
Jake Spider Monkey, like a hand of God.
Like the long arm of fate.
He comes in with his blinding white teeth, like just spotlighting Adam, and he's like, "That lady out there gave me my big break behind the camera," and he pulls out a camera and he starts filming Adam, and Adam's like, "Stop it!" He's running around. He's like, "I'm naked," and
This should be illegal. Like, this isn't okay.
it's super not okay. And calling back to something Adam said earlier, Jake's like, "Well, don't be so worried. Nobody watches documentaries anyway." And
big turnout on the people watching this documentary.
We cut to an awards show, big screen, and now the award for the best nature documentary goes to Pants.
yeah, this
Pants, the
The
awful
strange boy creature.
and
And it's just showing a shot of Adam, much like the famous footage of the Homo sasquatchus, Bigfoot, just walking by, and it's seen to a crowd of cheering, hooting, and hollering, and it's even being broadcast on live TV. This naked shot of Adam,
a child.
a child, and it cuts to it shows it's on a TV, and then it shows that it's Carrie and her friends all eating pizza, watching TV, and that bully character who looks like he's 40 years old is there. And he's like, "Ha ha, I'm gonna tell Lion all about this." And then my heart, as the camera pulls out even more out the window, and Adam is walking up
He
to
brought
Carrie's
his own pizza.
Adam's walking up with a box of pizza, about to ring the doorbell when he hears the laughter, and he peeks in the window and sees them all laughing at him. And he's like, "This is the worst day ever." And he runs away, crying.
but it doesn't stop there.
No,
It
of course
does-
not.
It doesn't stop there because you know what? She's still here. She's filming him.
She has gone out of the school environment, followed her, followed Adam in this dark neighborhood.
Pointing a camera at him, saying, "This is gonna be a great sequel," and then that's the end.
Do you think during this episode, was it ever addressed how creepy it was?
No, it's not. I mean, Coach Gill tried.
Coach Gill tried. Coach Gill's responsible. Most of the time.
I think she deep down she's a caring soul who she's a tough gym teacher who could stand to be more compassionate on that end, but by gum, she'll defend her students when there are these human harassers like this. Jesus Christ.
So I would say bad episode, unless you just really like seeing Adam uncomfortable. Then otherwise, it was probably a very good episode for you.
But
even then,
it was uncomfortable in a
Unjustified way.
unjustified way. Sure, Adam becoming uncomfortable by wacky animal antics is a lot different than grown human woman chasing him down with a camera and trying to exploit him.
That's true. That's very true.
Still kind of funny though. I guess.
A little funny. Well, those episodes for sure were a treat, huh?
Wow, what a treat.
Let's read some comments. Why don't you read this one, Gert?
Okay, this one was sent from Sleepy Nook. Mr. Blowhole starts an ASMR channel, but it's based on pen clicking instead of whale noises. So I love this because this is kind of this is some headcanon territory, and I really think that should be encouraged with, the people are following us around, because by gosh, I know that we've come up with some headcanons. So I really like this idea of Mr. Blowhole, like,
coming home from a day
at work and getting out his really high quality, like, mics that look like human ears, and just, like, clicking pens around them, and just, like...
He enunciates words.
Today I came back from the school and I brought back some mechanical pencils. They sound really, you can really hear the clicking of them.
I hate this.
Yeah. And it's just like, and maybe there's like a, or maybe that's the only time where you don't hear a whale noise. Maybe he's very, like, focused on ASMR and trying to get out the whale noises. I love this. Thank you for sending that.
Alright, Renee, why don't you read the next one?
Okay. This one is by Apprentice Joe King. They write, "This is the kind of thing that gets said every episode, but Jake's terrible exposed brain is an image that's been burned into my consciousness since childhood. I feel like the My Gym Partners podcast community could reconstruct the entire show without ever rewatching it, just from the various deep, vivid memories we all remember."
So My Gym Partner's a Monkey is kind of like Candle Cove, where a group of people come out on the internet, right? So it's like creepypasta, you know?
Yeah, we can't find it anymore. It's lost media, so we have to recreate it.
Remember that show that played on TV really, like, not late, but like 6 o'clock? And on Friday nights, I have it really it's very vivid in my head. It's like,
right,
yeah,
right.
I do.
Was it this show about like a human boy going to an animal school and all the animal kids torturing him? Yeah, that was it.
Remember, you know, there was like the principal was like a frog or something like that.
And like, there's this one character that always really kind of scared me. He was always with the human boy, and he had very long arms, and he reached out with them as if he were to touch me, but, you know, I don't know, I asked my mom about it, and she said I was just watching Camp Laszlo. So, like, it's really strange. Does anybody have any information?
Thank you for your comments, everybody. And please comment on our videos, or reply to us, or add us on Twitter. Reply to us on Twitter. We'll read them. Tell your friends about our show. We don't have a lot of episodes out yet, which is the best opportunity to catch up to a podcast. You know, send them your favorite episode, have them give them a listen.
Or maybe you want to let them build up.
Build up?
You know.
Gert's a fan of listening to podcasts chunks at a time.
So, don't listen to podcasts as much as I want to. But hey, just do whatever you want. Have fun!
Shut up.
This is what this podcast is for you to have fun, and for us to have fun/suffer.
If it ain't fun,
more so
what's the point?
Hey, since
this has been my Camp Laszlo's Gym Partner podcast, a monkey.
Until next time, we're gonna be watching a Supplies Party, and she's Koala that.
Wait,
ooh,
no, that second one. That was the one I was thinking of.
Oh,
That's
no.
the really terrible, embarrassing one.
Oh, well, I know what character we're gonna be introduced.
I also
in that
know.
one.
I remember this one.
I think it's gonna make me sad. It made me sad when I was younger, I think.
Well, let's find
No,
out
I'm not-
next week.
I'm not talking about She's Koala that. I mean Supplies Party.
Supplies
That's
Party?
That's the very embarrassing one I thought this episode was gonna be. Oh God, you'll all see. We'll all see.
Until next
See
time.
you next time.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Renee.
And I'm Super Mario.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yippee!
Oh,
Mama!
thank you so much for listening to our podcast.